Well, I am super excited about today for many reasons. I always love to be in the same room or the same conversation with my co-host Nicole Cowley. You're just such a privilege to be with you, and you're so heartfelt, and there's so many deep conversations that we have that I could literally do it all day long. But we both run businesses, so we actually wanted to be able to leverage our conversations and have these deeper discussions in a way that we were also empowering others. And so because we love Think and Grow Rich for Women so much, number one, I've been through it. I've taken people through it. Nicole, you study it, you love it. We decided to do this book club so that we can have other people join us live and be involved in a conversation and go deeper. So my intention for today truly is a deeper connection to self always, because that's the reflection and the things that you get out of deeper conversations. But it's also getting to know you, Nicole, and to understand like some of the thought processes when you read part of this book or you're listening audio is like, what are those things that like, whoa, I had a little bit of a trigger to that and I had to work through it. So I love these types of conversations and I'm super excited. So just quickly, I'm just going to introduce myself. I'm Debbie Prediger, the founder of Empowering You Community. And Nicole actually has been part of my community for over a year. But we've met inside of another community, which that was beautiful. And now Nicole and I do lots of things together. She's been a guest on my podcast a few times, and I'm super excited for you, everybody, to get to know her as well. So Nicole, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you. Well, first of all, Debbie, thank you so much. I love our conversations. Like you said, we could talk forever. But I am honored to be here with you today because I know that what our intention together is on this is to really help empower women to feel so strong and feel so good about, what they are doing in their life and their financial situation and the contributions they're giving to this world and so many things. So I'm very, very grateful. My name, as Debbie said, is Nicole Cowley, and I am what many people call a transition transformational coach. So I really help people that are in a place in their life where they're in a state of wanting something different, but they're just not sure how to get there, or they're feeling lost or stuck. And I come in and show them that there's possibility beyond. And I really help break through those limiting beliefs and create the life that they've had on their heart for so long, but thought wasn't possible. So I am so grateful to be here with Debbie, and I'm really excited about our conversations because just like Debbie was saying, the more we have these conversations with others, we start to figure out all the ways that we can help people rise and shine and really live into what they desire to live into. And this book is like, it's fire. As far as I'm concerned, it's fire. I love it.
Well, I love the fire. So first and foremost, when you lean into the fire, it is a little scary, but it's really exciting because you know that on the other side of that is like freedom and a new sense of like consciousness and like, oh my goodness, how did I not know that was even possible? That wasn't a thing. And so I know that when I first was introduced to Think and Grow Rich, it was a book I couldn't really get into. We talked about this a little bit, is about how you can't hear or see or know something at a certain point in your life. And it wasn't time for me. There was other books that needed to come before this in order to do it. But as more and more people that I was introduced to were recognizing this book and saying, you need to read it, I started, instead of reading it, I got into something like this. And we did a mastermind on Think and Grow Rich, the original book. And we had such deep discussions, and it was like a power hour of just like, boom, this is amazing. Like, oh my goodness, what is possible in my world if I just start doing some of these things? Mm-hmm. And from that went into a deeper, and then I found Think and Grow Rich for Women. And it literally changed my life because all of those things that just weren't quite fitting, you just knew something just was off. But you knew that it had to work because it wouldn't be a book that was this popular if it didn't work. But why am I not resonating? What's wrong with me? I can't quite get into tune. I always say tune in the frequency. I couldn't quite get there on some of the points. And Think and Grow Rich for Women was created by Sharon Lecter. And she did it for the exact same reason that it felt so good to me. She knew that women's voices and the way that we show up in the world and the gifts that we bring to the world are just a little different than the original book was intended.
You brought so many great things up. And I think the first thing you were talking about is awareness, right? As to when you were first reading the book, it didn't resonate. And there may have been words and choices, like choice words that were used in there that may have not felt as relatable. And I think, many, like we were just talking about, many of the books were written with men in mind at that time. And so when you're reading it, sometimes it doesn't feel as relatable. And so when we get into Sharon Lecter's way of doing this and explaining things just start to evolve for myself as well. I just heard things differently. And I know we do process differently often than men too within our minds. And so it was such a good opener. And I agree. I think that when I first started to dive into this information, it was like, I was kind of like up here, right? I was like, oh, that's a bit over my head, some of these things, but it was because my awareness wasn't there yet. And then once you start to break it down into the little pieces that are inside the book and you start to actually work through the process, actually doing the things, you start to embody it. You start to learn it. So there's one thing about reading a book, and there's another about actually taking action and embodying what is actually given to us. And I think that is something that sometimes is missing as we are trying to change our lives.
Oh, you nailed it. So I love that. And I want to repeat that. There is a difference, and I hear it differently. So please, I'm not repeating your words. I'm repeating what I felt you said, is that there is a difference between reading it and understanding it to the depth of your soul. Your soul, I always say that my soul is begging me to open up and understand something. I believe that we have all the knowledge we need inside of us. Yeah. It's the outside world that is either confused us or we kind of bought into something else. But when we really go back and then we're really here in our soul, and all of a sudden we reread something or relearn something, we're like, that is truth to me. And that's the part where you actually go deeper and you understand it and you embody it and you even master it, because there's still going to be triggers or little times where something feels off. Like, I don't know if I'm fully embodying it. What's standing in my way? And how can I get out of my own way so that I can hear my own truth? And that's what I love to take women through, is to discover or rediscover their own truth and step into their own power.
Oh, I love that, Debbie, what you were just saying. I think, what you were just mentioning is that when we're reading something and then all of a sudden it's like those light bulb moments, it's like, I resonate so deeply with that. And it's like that, oh, that makes so much sense. And it's really just coming back to what we already knew, but we just needed to hear it sometimes a different way. And I think also, we can read these things and it sounds so inspirational and everything sounds amazing when you're reading it. And I would love that. But the taking action and being the person that actually can do that is a whole different ballgame. And so I think that's where sometimes, there's so much knowledge out there right now. And how lucky are we that really we can go into our computers and really find out so much about almost any topic that we want to now. And how, if I would have had this when I was in high school or university, right? I think I'm like, wow, it's just like, it's at our fingertips. Everything's at our fingertips. But because there's so much knowledge, it's like, what do you do with it? And that's more important to me. I think I'm not going to remember who said this. And I talked about it the other day, and I'm sorry, I can't remember who said this, but I've often said with clients, because I know it came from some other great mind out there, but that knowledge is power. But actually, knowledge is power when it's put into action, right? When it's put into really being able to do the things. And then you're like, yes, because that action reaffirms the knowledge. And it helps us know it even deeper. So it's so good.
Yeah, it helps us know it deeper and embody it as our truth. And so I love that we've gone full circle with that. So before I get to pick your brain on all the juicy things that you love about Think and Grow Rich, I want to know, I want me to understand, but you to even express it to the audience here, is that when we started talking about this as a possibility for a book club or a deeper understanding or a collective of people coming in, I know that we said, oh, it would be great for so and so and so and so and so and so. And so, can you help me understand who is your ideal client? Who is it that you serve currently? And then how do you feel like this is the thing that could really help them?
Oh, so good. So, I mean, I do primarily work with women. I do work with men and I do work with teens, but I have a lot of women in my life. And I remember when you and I first started talking about it, I was so excited. What was so funny about this is Debbie and I got on a phone call and I had been leaving getting groceries. And I was like, I think we need to do something with Think and Grow Rich. Like I just in my head, I'm like, I need to do it. And then Debbie and I got on a call and she's like, you know what? She's like, I'm thinking about we need to do something with this Think and Grow Rich for women. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And I mean, this is just how this works, right? This is how it works because you start thinking about it and the right people come in. But what I started to think why I wanted this is that I think so many women that I have worked with, the one place that they don't always feel as powerful is in their finances and in their future. And it has been almost every single person that I've talked to when they fill out why they're working with me or what they would love in the end is financial freedom or the ability to understand it, to have the power to make their own decisions and to know that they can do whatever they need to do to create the abundance in their life that they really truly want. And to know that, to actually deeply know that, takes away so much of that fear, right? When you actually believe that you can do that. And so what I feel so deeply about putting us doing something like this together is that we're going to grow. We're going to understand it at a much deeper level, see it through different eyes and take different action.
Wow. See it through different eyes and take different action, because that's why you can take a book like this and read it every year, every 6 months, every whatever, is because you'll always evolve and then you see it and hear it differently. But it is in the action that you actually change the old habits and patterns in your life. So I love this because one of the reasons that I went into Think and Grow Rich the first time was my ideal client was very confused. They were frustrated. They felt like they'd tried it all before. They at a glass ceiling. They didn't know how to break through that ceiling. They knew there was some mindset, but there was like, I just need to work harder in order to make this work. And so they thought that it was willpower instead of actually more of an alignment that they were needing to get clear on who they are and who they serve and what that next step is and how to listen to your own intuition. So there was almost to that level of frustration that said that I guess this isn't for me. I guess I'm not capable. I guess that my story or my thing that I desire isn't big enough. I just can't break through this glass ceiling or this wall. And that made me so sad. And so when I read this and did that first mastermind, I was like, well, this is for them and this is for them and this is for them. And then that's when I made my first offer of doing my own mastermind with Think and Grow Rich for women. And it was phenomenal. And I think I can't remember if it was 11 weeks or 12 or whatever it was, but every week people come back celebrating and sharing the huge advancements they had. And I started them out with a what would you love? And then we went through each thing and we celebrated and we fed off of each other's energy and we did this thing. But at the end, when we did a reflection, it was like it was night and day. It was like total shift, such a quick transformation to these beautiful hearts and these beautiful minds with people that were true world changers. And that's what I desire for everybody. And as you said, we get to go through it too, and we get to up level our own experience as we facilitate. So this book club really is not a mastermind. That's something else that we are actually, if we have enough people ask, we're actually going to do. So we actually have a wait list. So on the left side of this button, there is a wait list. Put your name down and say, I want to join a mastermind. It's no commitment to you. It's us knowing that is it worth us our time to put that out as an offer. But what this book club is for us to have conversations, and it's free and it's available whether you're here with us live or you want to watch the replay. We really truly want you to do the reflective work as much as we're doing it right here. This is a conversation, but it's a conversation about empowerment and about actions and call to actions. And for me, everything is an aligned action. If it doesn't feel in alignment, if it feels a little bit too pushy or a little bit too pulley, then there is something that's asking me to come back into, in a nursing term, homeostasis, which is balance and being in the center. And that's where our flow state is. And that's where we can do unbelievable things in short time.
Oh, Debbie, that was so good. And I love like your whole intention, what you were talking about the women that where you could see it helping them. Like you said something that was so key, and it's something that I have felt for so long too, is I never want somebody in my presence saying, I guess this just isn't for me. And you know that I've said that quite a few times in my own life, and it did not feel good. And you know, the thought of those dreams like not happening and not coming to fruition is one of those things that feels not good in the heart. And so I loved everything you were saying today. And the other thing I loved that you said in there too was, and I think it was meshing, because you're always about community. You're such a connector in this world, and maybe you can word this so much better than I'm going to word that, but that when we come together and we have these discussions, light bulbs go off. And I never thought of it that way. And oh my gosh, thank you for that suggestion. And I didn't know that I could work with this person, or I could do this, or whatever it is. And so these minds come together, and we're always so much more powerful together. And I've been lucky enough to be in mentorship with Bob Proctor's programs. And one thing I remember him saying was that his business changed when he started to partner, when he started to come together with people, because he said, I could only grow so far on my own. And I was trying to do so much on my own, and it just wasn't flying. Like I just couldn't figure it out. And he said, I realized that the more minds together, the more we grow, and especially when we have the same intention. And so I loved what you were talking about. And Debbie, what would you say when it comes to that? I mean, I know you're the queen of connection. And so what would you say?
Well, first of all, thank you for I am the queen of connection. I love it. I have always been that person that loved to dive into people's stories, not because I was nosy and like to gossip. That is not the type of stories that I like. The stories that I like is like, why do you do what you do? And what drove you to that? And what lights you up? And so then connecting you with the right fit person is just something that I love to do. It's really, I see the world as one big web, and I really do. This web lights up, and it's like, boy, you need to see that person over in India. She'd be amazing. And that person in Peru, they'd be perfect for you. And all of our stories of it's not possible because they don't live beside me is BS. And we are connected energetically across the world, whether we know it or not. And I always say your soul is speaking to my soul, and we are already connected. It's just a matter of us humans actually paying attention. The other piece of this is that Think and Grow Rich was one of the first masterminds, right? When we put two brains together, we create a third brain. When we get 11 or 12 brains in there, it's like we have just went with 100 world leaders, catalysts for change, people that think differently. They have an open mind and an open heart. And so what I love to say is that in a mastermind setting, when you come into community and you set the intention that you're going to be open to learning and hearing and seeing and knowing, you actually gave your intuition, your inner wisdom, permission. And that's what I love to do, is just go in and be curious. because it isn't about me being right and you being wrong and you're better than me. It is about what am I meant to see, hear, and know in this next hour, half hour, or whatever. I do that with all my books, all my things, everything I do. Even if I'm teaching on stage, there's something I'm there to learn as well. And so I love bringing big brains into a room together because we think differently. It's not that we have more knowledge than someone else, potentially. It's that what we do with that knowledge, we think differently. And it's about expansion and explosion and evolution. And it's no ego saying, well, you're up here, so I'm down here. It's like, shoulder to shoulder, arm to arm, where we all are just going towards making the world a better place. And that thrills me.
Oh, I couldn't agree more, and I love that so much because I think we are constantly, I hope for the rest of my life, learning and coming into when I'm always in my programs that I've ever run before. The women in it are so powerful, and their tips to each other when we're in there is beyond what I even expected. Lots of times you don't even realize that like these people have these gifts, and so the more we come together, it's so impactful. And the other thing I keep thinking about as we're learning more about this is the generations behind. And I think about like my daughter, and I think about all the things that if these kind of conversations continue to happen and we continue to, get together and do this, this will be her norm. This will be something that will be like, this will be something that she recognizes as the way to work it, the way to do this, to gather together as women and support each other and rise, and that together we can make such a difference. And so I think our time together is going to be so beautiful and way more impactful than I think we can, the ripple effect, right? It's the ripple effect of it all.
Yeah, thank you. So for me, it's always about following your joy, following your heck yes. Don't overthink it. Just like, yes, we need to make decisions, but sometimes that decision has already been made. We just have to agree to it as a human. So follow your joy so that you can agree to what the universe is already bringing to you so it can come through you. And so this was a heck yes for me. It wasn't easy to find a time slot that worked for both of us. But like you said, the ripple effect of this hour together is going to be beyond anything that we can imagine, because we can just feel the energy booming around this. So I believe that each person has energy, and then also every business entity has energy. And this is a business entity that is just vibrating and saying, go, 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 go. So that excites me. Nicole, are you ready for me to get into some questions about the actual book?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
we're not going to do this in order because this is a book club, but it's really about deeper discussion, and especially this very first one. I would really love to know from a high level view, what were the things that stood out to you when you first opened the book or heard the book? Like, what was the thing that said, oh, this is the book for me?
Well, it was so amazing. First of all, I didn't even know this book existed. And so that was I was like, what? There's one for women? Like, why did I not know this before? I was like, come on. And so when I first heard that, I was like, I'm getting this book and I can't wait to jump into it. But what I loved is when I started there were so many aspects of the book that I love. I think the one that stuck out to me right away was using your imagination and visualization and affirmations, all those things. I'm a hypnotherapist, so that is like those knowings that you have. That's one of those things that when I started to learn it, I'm like, I knew this before. I can feel it. I've known this is the thing. And then when I see it brought into the business world, and I see it brought into these successful entrepreneurs using it in a way that actually propels their life, and so much evidence of it working, it was probably one of the things that I was like, I want to know more. I want to just keep knowing more, because it's more evidence. There's more evidence that this continues to work. And the beautiful women that she brought in there with their quotes, like women from history that have made huge impact in this world. She brings in their stories, their quotes, talks about like their successes. And I love learning them, because I think every single one of them have this formula to getting where they want to be. And so this book actually starts to give you the formula to getting to where you want to go.
I love that you talked about the quotes, because that really made it a personal touch. And even like, I have the audiobook and the other book, and I just was listening to the audiobook again this last week just to remind myself. And one of the things that she does is she takes it and makes it personal about how they have taken this action and had this philosophy and use these principles as a guiding light to build the business that they've built. And so I just popped one of my favorite ones because it was Oprah. And it's the biggest adventure you can take is to live the life of your dreams. Lou, I just get chills as I think that, because it's like permission granted, right? Like, we can't talk about, oh, it's not possible for me, because Oprah has done everything that she did not think was possible. Whew. When she lived the life she started out in life is nowhere near the life she's created. But she has always been one of those way showers that said, I found the way forward. Here's the path. Grab my hand. I'm going to take you with me. And that's what I want to be for other women, is that person that always thinks about, like, I can remember the hard times, but I don't have to live there anymore. I can remember in compassion of what that felt like, so that I can speak to my ideal audience and know what they're going through. But I don't have to feel that pain. I just have to remember what it's like, what their fears were, what their beliefs were, so that I'm speaking right to their soul. And that's what I really finally got when I got to that point in life, that all of the things that had happened, and Nicole, I've told you quite a bit of my story, but all the things that happened to me, that I felt like I had to keep my head above water, just barely breathing and surviving. How can I just get through one more day? How can I get through this thing that I'm going through? But on the other side of this, I know that it's better. And then all of a sudden, when I look at it now, it's like, but everything I went through helps me be compassionate to those women that I lead through now. I can feel their hearts and their fears, and I can also hear very clearly that their soul is saying, there's more. Continue on. There's something here for you. So the hope and the possibility in the community is why I empower others, because once you get to that state where you can see that hope and possibility and pure love cures all, now you look back and you're just like, that's just life's adventure that's getting me to help the next person in line. And that's the ripple effect.
Oh, that was so beautifully said. You know, what you were talking about is when you're in it, and you don't really realize that, you know, what you are going through right now is, and I think I've talked about this before, that often your story, your success story, like how you got through, is somebody's blueprint for their next success, right? For them to be able to rise and thrive. And so the more you've gone through, the more you understand what people are going through, and what is possible on the other side. And so I really truly believe that quote from Oprah was really great. The biggest adventure you can take is to live the life of your dreams. And I think, you know, adventure comes with some fears. Adventure comes right when we decide to take an adventure. Our mind doesn't love that always. Or it may sound exciting, but it's not really Disneyland for many people, right? That adventure is kind of a little bit scary sometimes.
I'm putting that in the chat. I should have put, that's a quote from Nicole, because that is truth.
Yeah.
If it doesn't excite you and push you a little bit into your boundary of fear, you're probably not pushing yourself enough.
No. And so I think, you know, when we talk about that adventure, the adventure is actually us living into our potential. And I think, you know, so many times I have, and I know a lot of my clients have also talked about potential a lot, all the things we could do. I know I could do this. I know I could do these things, but it stays there. But when we decide to go on the adventure, when we decide to be like buying the ticket, I'm going on that plane, that's when you're like, woo, it is going to start now, right? And we don't always know what's going to happen on these adventures, but to start it and to have the faith that we can move into it, and that we're worth it. We're worth doing that is so important, because every single person, I always feel this, and I think Debbie, you feel that so much, is that, you know, when you leave being in our energy or being around us, I want you to feel that you are worth it. You are so worth it. We need your gifts. We need your talent. We need your dreams, because that living into potential was there on purpose. Like when you have this dream and this potential that comes up here and you're like, I know I could do that. I know I could fill this gap. I know I could be that person. It's not there by accident. It is there on purpose. It is there. It's your intuition saying, let's go, let's go. It's your soul saying, let's do it. And so sometimes though, because when you think about the mind and you think about these things, it's there to keep us safe. And many times it's not our friend. And so we need people, a community that is like, let's do this together. Let's link arms. Let's go shoulder to shoulder, and let's get you into your dreams, because you deserve it. You need to be there. We just need a little bit of help along the way.
Yeah. And for somebody like me, I needed a lot of help. And here's why. And there's many people out there that are similar or worse off or whatever, but I want you to see yourself a little bit of my story. And it was years and years of my nervous system keeping me safe. Mm-hmm. And so I was eventually locked into fight or flight in my nervous system, to the point that I had my body shut down and adrenal shutdowns and everything else. But I didn't know it at the time. I was a nurse and I couldn't figure out, and neither could the doctors and the specialists and all those people. I couldn't figure out what could possibly be wrong, right? Yeah, I was tired. I had twin boys. Yes, I was tired. I was running a farm, and I was a nurse that worked 12-hour plus shifts. That seemed normal to me. But what I didn't realize is that my body was trying so hard to tell me that there was something else happening. And until I actually had that full time where it's like, you can't move forward. I was in a neck brace and my legs wouldn't move anymore. I finally got to the point where it's like, there has to be a different way. And so what I knew to get me to this stage of my life where people think I have success because I am a nurse and I've been offered every job I've ever gotten. I never had to apply. I mean, I thought I had great success, but I also recognized when I started looking deeper that I actually was doing it for everyone else but me. I was people pleasing, and I was doing what I thought others wanted of me in order to be lovable.
Yeah.
That is not a great place to be. That is not, I had to reinvent myself from the ground up, because even as a little girl, I was being somebody that I thought somebody would love. So I needed to learn who I was from the ground up. I needed to go back and love that little girl, even though she had been abandoned. I needed to do a lot of work. And so it was through personal development and amazing coaches and mentors and books like this, but it was most of all through intention and deciding. The line was actually drawn in the sand, and I couldn't go forward in the way that I'd been going. Something had to shift and change, or I wouldn't have been here today. And so that's why it's so important for me to build community and help people understand they're not alone. They never have been alone, but that's a story for another day. And that we're here to help them as long as they decide. They have to make the decision, not us.
Wow, Debbie, thank you. I even learned more today about, I know quite a bit about your story, but I learned more today on what you were just sharing. And sometimes, like you just said, the decision was almost being made for you in so many ways that you weren't even being able to move. And so yes, when you were saying that some people need a little bit of help, some people need more help, I think, there's so many varying levels of the whole thing. Many years ago needed a lot of help too, and it was, my nervous system was really in fight and flight all the time too, and I couldn't see a lot outside of where I was. And one thing I for sure believe is, one thing was that I made a decision. I made decisions to get people to help me. I made decisions to invest in myself, even though I didn't know what that would really look like or what I was specifically doing at the time. but I also surrounded myself with people that actually believed in me, that actually wanted me to rise, that wanted to do those things with me. And so, that's why I believe so highly on community and making the decision for yourself, because we're the only ones that can do it. I remember, many times, coaching, like, because I have been a personal trainer too. And so often, I would say, I wish I could work out for you. I wish I could do the things for you, right? Because they wanted this so badly. And I was like, I want to. But ultimately, it's our decision. Ultimately, it's our decision where our life's going to go, what it's going to do, who we connect with, and I believe the more we say yes, more doors open. I really, like, I find more times I say yes, even if I'm scared, and I've been scared many times, and I put myself in rooms that I'm just like, should I be in this room? Should I be in this room? But, I learn every time more about me and more about the people in the room, and how I can, learn so much more and grow so much more. And it's that uncomfortable ride, but when you're with the right people who have the intention of love and rise and connection and seeing you and hearing you, it makes life so much better, because boy, do we have a lot of life to live.
I love that. So I'm going to circle back to that you loved the imagination, that it really was something that you could resonate with and relate with. And I remember, along my journey of hearing different things, reading different books, having different mentors, somewhere along the line, I heard it or read it, and it was a Tony Robbins quote. And at the time I couldn't hear Tony. Ooh, he was yelling all the time. He sounded mad. My ears could not hear that man. It's changed. And whether he's changed or I've changed, it's changed. I can hear the little whispers of the unsaid words from him now. But somewhere along the line, he said something about that it is our imagination and our emotion together that's actually going to manifest and change reality. Now, those weren't his words. Do not quote me. That's not a Tony Robbins quote, but that's what I heard. And I went, yes, like it's the emotion attached to it. So I stopped doing vision boards with just putting pictures here. I started using the imagination of what would I feel when I had that thing that I want, that I think I want, the beach home, the ocean front property, the car with the top down. And now I was connecting to my family, my why, who was sitting beside me, what did we feel like, what was the smiles on their face, the giggles, the ears, the birds chirping, like what was happening around me. And that got me to the place that I embodied it. That became my truth. And that's my way of manifesting. It isn't a slap a magazine picture of a model that doesn't look like me on there and say, that's what I want to look like. That feels like a wish.
Yeah.
This using your imagination tied in with emotion, that's creation. That's a whole different thing.
Yeah. No, I agree so much. It's funny because when we were talking about money and manifestation and money, a lot of people can't, like, they're trying, like, they've never made this amount of money or they've never done this before. So they're like, I'm trying to visualize the money. And it's not the money, it's like what you can do with that money. So what can I say yes to now? Like I had one mentor, I remember she had put in my mind about, what does Christmas morning look like now? And so I started to think about what it meant to, like, even the wrapping of the presents and what you could give and who you could have for dinner and what the dinner looks like, and that there's no worries. It's just joy. And it's just like all the things. And so when you start to get into that picture of what it is, your heart is like, I want that. That is what I want. Right. And then you get more deeply, and then you can see it actually happening. And the see it actually happening is so important for the subconscious mind, because the subconscious mind doesn't know what is real or what is not. It only knows what it's told over and over again or sees through images. And so isn't that beautiful that we can live that life in our subconscious, and then it starts to look for all the ways to make this happen? Because if it believes this is your life, we better start living it. So it starts to try to find the ways to make it happen, right? And there's a lot of science behind it, but our imagination is, it's amazing as adults how we lose that. And it actually starts even at a young age, because you think about, like, in school, stop daydreaming, stop doing the things, start concentrating, you're fooling around too much, you do too much, like all these things, and then you're like, well, I must not be able to, I shouldn't use my imagination, right? And many people being told they're not creative, that they're, just because they can't do art or they haven't been able to draw, doesn't mean you're not creative, right? Everybody can create all of these things in their mind, but we can see where it's lost lots of time when we were young and how it happens. But our imagination is one of the greatest gifts, because every single thing we have, every single thing was first created in the mind, and then so it was created twice, once in the mind and then once in reality, right? Everything we have. So we have to really have reverence for this faculty of the mind that we don't even know is actually a superpower, right? It's one of our things, and if we harness it, oh my gosh, what can we create? So thank you so much for that. It's so beautiful. I love that you said it's the feeling, right? And the images that actually start to create a beautiful existence for yourself.
Wow, you just brought that back full circle. And my heart hurt when you were talking about how goofing off, pay attention, don't use your imagination for that. And I just pictured this little boy that says, I just want to be an astronaut. And that was fine when he was 2, but as soon as he turned 7 or 8, they're like, okay, stop that. You're not going to be an astronaut. You got to be practical. We're farmers, right? That's you living to someone else's life versus what do you want to do? There's miracles every day. You hear stories. I hear stories every day of somebody that was born into a family of this, but said no more. And I want to change it. And I want to expand into more possibilities. And really, that's what we're doing here, is helping people see the possibilities and then believe in themselves enough to actually go after their dreams. Because I promise you, those dreams are on your heart for a reason. And that really comes to my favorite chapter, which is burning desire. Burning desire. When you recognize that there is a burning desire on your heart that you've been ignoring or pushing away or saying, this isn't for me, somebody else should do this, that your life struggles, the thing that just pisses you off and you wish that could happen, is because you are meant to be the person that actually changes this. I remember a time that I said, if only healthcare took care of the entire body, if only healthcare actually cared enough about the whole human existence, the emotional body, the spiritual body, that, everything. And now today, I have been invited to present to people that do that. I have been connected with hospitals that now have aromatherapy offices to help their patients, burn victims, through, we have to calm down the nervous system, right? Things that they've said, this will never happen because we're institutionalized. That's BS. Things can change. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the thing you're going through is so that other people don't ever have to go through it again.
Oh, Debbie, the desire. That is so good. The desire is such a, it's so powerful. And like you just said, in hospitals now they have those rooms that are meant for that. And I think years ago that wasn't even possible. That wasn't even like it wasn't even thought of. First of all, like, don't even go there. But now you have these different, we're recognizing things at a much deeper level. And so I think that is so incredible, this burning desire. What I wanted to talk about though with that is I found this with many women will have conversations and they haven't asked themselves what they want for many years. Like, not even knowing what it is that they want. They haven't even asked themselves. So when I'm asking what they want, they're like, I don't know. I've been too busy taking care of so-and-so, and I've been so busy doing this, and the kids and the lessons and my parents, and I'm trying to do in my job. I'm trying to do all the things, and then I ask, and they're like, I don't know. And you know, for a lot of them, it was kind of I don't love that question because I don't know the answer. I
Yeah.
like, you know, I don't know the answer yet. I know that I'm not necessarily satisfied with everything that's happening, but I haven't taken the time to actually sit and ask myself what it is. And creating a burning desire is so important because when you're going after something new, you're going to have lots of obstacles come in the way, right? You're going to have people saying that this isn't possible. You're going to have your own mind telling you it isn't possible. You'll have so many things that are happening around you saying this just can't happen. But when it's burning, it doesn't go away, right? It's like it's in here, and it wakes you up at night sometimes. And it's like one of those things that you just, it still has to happen somehow, but it's creating it. It's creating that burning desire. What is that in you that you know that you're meant to do? So yeah,
Mm.
I love the burning desire is super, super important.
And as you said, a burning desire doesn't go away, but sometimes we have to fan the flames a little bit.
Mhm.
Sometimes you need to hang around people that believe in you so that you can just believe in yourself a little bit more and your dreams a little bit more, so that burning desire becomes burning again. It doesn't ever go away. I promise you, even if you're like, that's it, I'm done, never doing this again. It was too hard. It's not for me. And you literally tell yourself that, you're really just giving yourself to back off for a while and just rest. And we all need rest. That's why trees have seasons. We all need rest, but the burning desire doesn't go away. You will
No,
speak that to one person or 1,000 people, whatever the audience gives you an opportunity, because that is part of who you are. It's part of who you be. And it's part of that self-discovery again. When you said that so many of the women didn't know, they can't answer that. What do you really desire? I so can relate to that because I couldn't. Who am I don't know. What do I love? I don't know. I knew what my family loved. I knew what they desired. I didn't know what I desired. And it wasn't because I was confused. It was I wasn't giving myself permission because I needed to come last. That was my story. Once everybody else is taken care of, I'll worry about me. And there was never time to worry about me. So it was that form of self-love or self-sacrifice. And I was really, really, really mixed up in what that all meant.
yeah, you know, I do you not find that that's actually with most women that we put people first. Often we're putting others first, and we're such nurturers often by nature. And so it's like wanting to make sure everybody's happy, everybody's good, because I'm a mom, right? I'm like, I want to love you and I want to make sure you feel so good. But then it's like, what is it that I want? What, like, who's taking care of me? No, no one's necessarily taking care of me. I've got to take care of me, right? And we sometimes forget that that's so important, and it is important because the fuller you feel, the more you can actually nurture, the more you can give, the more you can, you know, put things out there when you're fuller. But I have been a people pleaser, was a people pleaser for many, many years as well, and you know, it came naturally to me to do that. But I can tell you that because of that too, I made a lot of decisions that were not necessarily the right decisions.
Right.
And because it wasn't really asking what do I want or what do I need or what would I love or any of those things.
So, Nicole, I can so relate to this, and I cannot believe this time has gone this fast. I would love to be able to give everybody a takeaway. And so, you know me, I'm going to put you on the spot and I'm going to ask you first and foremost. I'm going to pop this into the chat just so everybody else has it. And it's more in that technical, but here's the question in my own words. So, you have a burning desire. What is some action, aligned action step that you can take in the next 24 hours that's going to move you closer to your burning desire?
My own personal burning desire, you're saying? Okay, what do I? So I actually have to have two conversations that are like important conversations, a little bit nervous about these conversations, but they're actually ones that are going to help me grow my business where I want to go to a different level. And so mine is going to be actually just putting these two conversations into action. And those are, I'll tell you, sometimes conversations for me are scary at times, because it's asking more, it's finding out more things that I feel sometimes that I'm not doing, right? The things that I need to do, and then asking me to do things that I've never done before. And so I know what comes with some of these conversations, but I also know this is that in order to get to where I want to go, it is a place I've never been before. So I have to think differently, act differently, and be different. And I
Mm.
can't live it. I can't talk about this if I'm not doing it myself. So that's
Wow.
what I'm doing. But Debbie, I'm going to ask you right back at you.
This is us being accountable and really doing what we teach. So
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay. So Debbie, talking about this today, what is something that you feel is something that you need to do as well to ignite your burning desire to be able to continue to move in the direction you need to go? What is something that you can do in the next 24 hours that actually is going to move the needle for you as well?
Yeah, I know exactly what it is. It came to me, and that's the power of being together in community. It came to me loud and clear while we were speaking, and it's clarity. It's I serve a lot of different people and a lot of different organizations, but there is similarities amongst all of them. And helping me remember why I started this, help me also remember that there is a specific audience that is just for me.
Mm.
And so in the next 24 hours, I am going to, number one, put the line in the sand and drawing out who my ideal client is, not the ones that I like fit in, but the ones that are my ideal client. And then what do they truly need? What is that, those small steps forward that they need so that I'm serving in my zone of genius and the thing that I was born to do. And so the thing about being multi-talented or getting through as many different things that I've gotten through, it comes with it, but I can help them with that. But I can help them with that. But
Mm.
I know there's a specific person I'm meant to help. And I want to reset my focus.
Well, that is fantastic. And actually one of my phone calls is one of those aligned actions to exact same thing. So I'm just like, oh my gosh. Because I like exactly what you were saying is, I think sometimes we get so busy in our businesses that we don't take the time to have the clarity to sit. And in fact, I've always been one of those people that I'm like, is that productive? Is that productive enough? Am I like, I got to do this, that, right? Is that being productive? But it is being so productive. But I feel like sometimes that's just not enough because it's not producing something in that moment. But it really is. It's producing, like taking the time to figure out who your ideal audience is and who you're speaking to so that you can just even do more within that area and serve even at a higher level. How important is that? So thank you, Debbie. You got me here too.
Put on the spot for sure, but it was necessary to call myself out on that. So thanks for being part of that process. Nicole, what is one last thing that you would like to invite any listeners to, a call to action?
Sure.
I'll do a few because I don't want you to waste time on these. The buttons on the side are linkable. They're clickable and they're live in the live show and in the replay. So on the bottom button is you can reach out to Nicole and you can have a connection call with her and learn all about her resources and everything else. So if that interests you, do that. The middle button is mine and you can do the same with me. But I really, truly want and desire that everybody that's here, if you're watching us at that top of the hour, you've been here with us an hour. And so get on our wait list. Tell us that it is important for you to go deeper because together we know what's possible. And that is why I want you on that wait list. So Nicole, back to you. What is the thing that you would love to set a call to action for everybody?
Oh, beautiful. I the same right back to Debbie. Her link is right there too. And I highly recommend having a conversation with Debbie because every time you do, your life changes and just even from the conversation itself. So I highly recommend checking everything out that Debbie continues to do, because it's so, so impressive. But what I would really love to say is that my heart and Debbie's heart is that we want connection. We want us to get together. We want to help everybody get to where they want to be in their life. Like that is so important to us, is that you're, number one, you're seen, you're heard, and you're empowered and loved, right, within the community. And I think that is, if you are looking for that in your life, if you are looking to feel deeper in connection, you want to be, I believe you are, the people that you surround yourself with. So if you feel resonance with us and you feel the energy and you want to be in that energy more and you want to continue the party with us and be, in this what I call sometimes these parties, because this is so much fun when we get to talk. But if you want to be in that with us, we would absolutely love it. Welcome you with open arms, because I know this for a fact, that we're always better together, and that we are going to rise faster that way. And getting on that wait list, like Debbie said, there's no pressure ever on it, but we just want to know, are you interested in taking this to a different level, wanting to go further with us? And these book clubs that we're coming and talking, we just love to do this and have conversations. We'd love to have more conversations with you and have you come in with us. We want it because we know your gifts. But that is probably my call to action today, is to sign up on there if you feel that this is something that you want to have more of in your life, more positivity, more possibility, because we want you there. We do.
I love that. Thank you so much. The last call to action that I really will give to each other is to celebrate. Celebrate that you came here, you listened to this. Celebrate that we hopefully know you. So you watch this, connect back with us, come back to the next one. We're here next Wednesday again, I believe, anyway.
We are.
We are, and make sure that you let us know what resonated with you on this one. So it's really important for us to keep building this momentum. And then my real call to action, if you could do us a favor and tell more people about this. This link that you found is shareable, and you can invite anybody to watch this session. That's why we're keeping it free. We want it as simple as possible for us to really reach out and create a ripple effect across the world.
Yeah, thank you, Debbie. And if I could add one more thing in there, is that, we're always looking for, suggestions on, what we were talking about today. Would you like more of this, or would you like something a little bit different? Is there something on your heart that you're just like, oh, I would love that, love this? I mean, we are always open to hearing what it is that, would really light you up. And so please, I would love to hear some of that. And like Debbie said, if you've been here for an hour with us, you're already part of us. You're already part of this group with us. We already are like, come on. Anyways, thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.